Hey everybody, and good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, it's kind of the morning here, but wherever you're at. So, um, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and let me know any questions or ideas or suggestions in the comments. It's great. Um, I wanted to share this information. I was doing a question and answer session the other day, and I've really been into aliens, right? I had asked the question. I was like, you know what? Because I ask so many questions and I try to keep track of them sometimes. And I was like, you know what? How about you guys just tell me um, something, like for a change? How about you start the conversation? It's funny because I never do that. So I think it's because I've been so much into aliens has been my main focus of interest, like the past few months, weeks, especially. Is why this answer came up. But so I stopped to listen, and then the first thing I heard was reptilians are real and they can shapeshift. And I was like, what? So I've actually heard about this sort of thing before. Um, I think a lot of us have, and I've read about it. Now, what's curious is, from what I understand, so there's some truth to this, and it needs to be detailed and understood. So, because the reptilians, they get this rep, that they're evil or they control Earth or, they are just like bad in general, that sort of thing. And then some people don't even believe that they're real. So the truth is actually somewhere in the middle, from what I understand. There are very real species of alien beings. This is where our conversation went. This is kind of interesting. So they're very real and very, very ancient and, physical like you and me. So they're not from, remember, there's a very distinct split between physical and non-physical. Of course, I just mean as far as, our interactions, at least on Earth and everything here, it's kind of resigned to the realm of spirituality and, of course, that sort of thing. And it hasn't really been explored technologically. That's a fascinating another video too. But to start with, so this universe is so old, and the number keeps getting bigger, and the galaxies, like the age, keeps getting more and more as our technology advances. So I don't think we've even realized the full scope of how big this is. So there are some really advanced forms of life out there that evolved and harnessed technology and zero-point infinite energy a long time ago. And they are very advanced and very benevolent, believe it or not. So if they wanted to, they could just show up and destroy us. But the purpose is they understand, and the reptilians are among this advanced race of beings, from what I'm told, that understand this. And they, when new life arises, it is left to its own devices overall, not completely. There have been times where we've been communicated with, or things have been altered actually for the benefit of life to flourish, believe it or not. So they watch and they protect from like other, possibly invasive or negative beings from other physical dimensions. So they're not here to harm or control or anything like that. They're real, and they're actually on the good side of the spectrum, believe it or not. And they have harnessed the original, like the stuff of the Big Bang, when everything kind of like folded in energetically in heat, and I think it was basically humidity and pressure and everything that kind of created the Big Bang and then scattered the universe to what it is now. We're just starting to realize this potential too, and there's a lot of great videos out there. But there's a lot of civilizations, from what I told, that are out there, a lot of different races, including these reptilian beings that have reverse engineered, sourced zero-point energy, and believe it or not, have reached levels of advanced technology that make things seem unreal. If you think about it, if we could source the very energy that created everything, and if it's infinite in nature, really infinity can be realized physically. Health, um, things like non-renewable resources, for example, are not an issue. You can source this energy to travel and create food and that sort of thing. So they have cured hunger and disease, believe it or not. Everything that we're theorizing now and starting to experiment with over the past few decades, they've realized a long time ago. And this includes the ability to be able to, they can master they've mastered physical health. In other words, they can replace things and maintain things and therefore change things, therefore shapeshift. So it is interesting, and theoretically it's possible. It makes sense, but you just have to have such a high advanced level of technology. So when I asked what they look like, I was told, well, basically like humanoid, no tails or wings or anything like that, like us, but with scales and with no hair, basically, is how they evolved. But they appear human for the most part, when they communicate with us or like government entities, which they're doing as we begin to explore outer space more and more. They appear as human so as not to be, too off-putting or too frightening, So that's what I was told, and it kind of blew my mind. And they live in, so there's multiple physical dimensions as well. So, like when the Big Bang happened, as is explained to me, like we have this physical universe, but physical universe doesn't mean it's all we can see, that exists. So I like the analogy of like radio waves or microwaves. So just like everything with physical matter just kind of exploded outward and settled in, and life and everything, it's kind of formed and evolved over time. The same process happened in different degrees of density. Remember, everything's physical. Radio waves, microwaves, they're very real, but we can't see them. So and remember, as far as numbers are infinite. So if you take the space between your hand and you cut it in half, you will never reach zero. You keep taking that number and cutting it in half, just by the nature of infinity, you'll never reach zero. So the same applies outwards as well. You just keep doubling forever. And remember, space is infinite, the concept of space. So space and time. So therefore, the same idea of infinite numbers as far as infinitely small and infinitely large, if you apply that to densities and frequencies, then it's not just our physical universe as we know it, but life and evolution occurred because of the Big Bang, which there are a couple of them from what I understand, and resulted in life in other dimensions. Dimensions being other contained forms or collections of frequencies, like galaxies and stars and humans that exist on a physical frequency, like a radio or microwave, same degree of complexity and everything like that, but in a whole other dimension where we are unable to sense yet, this idea of parallel dimensions and that sort of thing. So, well, that's it for now, I guess, is what I wanted to share. So I thought this was really interesting because I've read a lot about these, and you read a lot about UFO encounters too, and theories, and even ancient contact with reptilian-like beings with cultures that actually scribed or documented this kind of thing, which was them. So, because I had asked this and was also told, yes, there have been times where they've communicated with people on Earth. And there have been times that them, and not just them, other races too. It's a whole federation of advanced races, that exist out there. It's amazing, but they are real, and they get a bad rap overall. And believe it or not, like with anything, there's always good and bad, but at the highest level of highest order is maintained by good, and good civilizations that understand the sacred nature of life and have a very deep understanding of the afterlife too, which is really fascinating, which will be another video. But so they're not here to control. They're real, but they're not here to control or enslave or attack or colonize. They understand very well the nature of evolution and allow things to evolve on their natural path, only being evolved when necessary. And we're reaching that threshold more and more, which is very curious. So there's a bit of truth to their reality. So real, yes, of course, like with anything, there's good and bad ones out there, but the good ones watch and protect and have been observing us for quite some time, but not interfering as much as possible, and have an amazing level of technology, shape-shifting, health, communication, travel, that sort of thing. So all those elements of it are real. There's just no negative aspect to them in general. The ones that are watching over this whole area and star system and galaxy and everything and protecting it and allowing it to flourish and waiting for us to reach a certain stage so we can understand and begin to learn and communicate with them are the good ones. So, and I think that's evident. I mean, there's no control. We all have free will. I think that's very clear. What we do to ourselves down here as humans, it's human lack of cohesion as far as a united understanding of why we're here and where we're going when we die. It's very much human constructs, the idea of religion, and some people don't believe in religion, and no one's like pulling the puppet strings from other dimensions or controlling us. I mean, clearly we all have the ability to think and do what we want overall. So this idea of control or mass ascension, that's an interesting theory, but there is no mass level event where we're all going to just raise to a higher vibration. So everything's very much locked into place through the rules of physics and everything and gravity and etc. Now the technology is possible to where, and this is how they achieve amazing things, these advanced civilizations, as far as travel and shape-shifting, that sort of thing, is the mastery of zero-point energy, therefore the very substance of all there is, So is it possible? Yes, but it's not going to happen just by pure thought, or there's not some grand conspiracy to stop us from vibrationally ascending into another dimension. Other dimensions exist. This one's very real going to be as physical as it is now, unless we master the technology to change that. So, and we're on that path, which is very exciting. So it's real interesting because it gave me some clarity on the idea of vibrations, dimensions, what's real, what's not. There's some truth to it, but I think it's misunderstood. I think there's a very positive context to it overall. Now, that's all I wanted to share, so I hope you found it interesting, and I've got a few more, because I could talk a lot on this topic. I really love it too, but for now, that's it. And I hope you found it interesting. I sure did. But let me know if you have any questions at all, and thanks for watching. Of course, take care.